Hey everyone, so it's time for another cooking video, and this time I'm going to do actually an entire plate of food, not just one item off of a plate for you guys. Last time I did pork chops, this time you're going to get a meat and two different vegetables. So anyway, the meat this time is going to be ribeye steak. The two vegetables are cooked kale and sauteed vegetables that are actually going to be leftovers from last night's dinner. But I'm going to show you how to saute leftovers, so it's not a big deal. But anyway, to get to the steak, I'm going to show you what I've got. So this is a ribeye steak. As you can see, it's kind of a big piece of steak. I'm probably going to end up having to cut it in half because there's no way I can eat all that myself. This is actually the smallest one that they had. The steaks have been picked over pretty good when I got to the grocery store this morning. So yeah, we're just going to pretend that this is this price does not exist, okay? Yes, ribeyes will run you anywhere from $9 to $15, depending on how big they are. Now, to pick out a good ribeye, you want to look at your fat marble. These really jagged lines running through the meat, the jagged lines of fat. You want there to be plenty of those. That's a good indication that the meat is tender. You can see there's plenty up here. You can see there's a few good ones down here. I can't see underneath the sticker, obviously, so I'm just going to assume that what's going on over here is reflected over here as well. So that's one way to pick out a good ribeye. Ribeyes are known for their tenderness and also kind of for their flavor. At least in my opinion, when I've eaten ribeyes in the past, they've tasted better than other steak, especially better than sirloin, which I think is nasty. I will not eat sirloin. I think it's gross. So that's how you pick out a good sirloin. So I'm not going to marinate this steak. I'm going to just leave it alone and let it sit here for now while I'm filming. Then I'll stick it back in the refrigerator. But I am going to show you what I'm going to baste it with on the grill. Now, just like last time when I made pork chops, I'm using a vessel that has a handle so that I've got something to hold on to. I used olive oil, but not a whole lot, just a little bit actually because it's just one steak. And I've got parsley flakes, onion salt, paprika, garlic powder, and ground black pepper. Now you're wondering where's the salt. Well, the salt is in the onion salt. So if you're using onion salt at home instead of onion powder or onion flakes, don't use regular salt because then your mixture will be too salty and you will not like it and you'll have to keep adding more stuff and you'll make way too much and you'll end up wasting a whole bunch of ingredients. We don't want that. So all you really need is just the onion salt. My recommendation is to add just a little tiny bit of each of these to your oil and then taste it after you mix it up. Then keep adding more and more until you get it just right. So yeah, taste it every time you add more. Mix it up really good with a spoon or with a fork. Doesn't matter. I recommend using a spoon or something not a fork actually, but a fork will work if that's all you have. So that's the beginning of the steak. So now I'm going to take this with me over here to show you guys the beginning of the cooked kale. So I also got to get the salt. Now the kale is in the refrigerator right now. It's down there in a drawer. I'm not going to get it out. But it comes in a big bag in the grocery store and in the salad section, usually in the produce area. But for a big bag of kale, you're going to want a large pot like this. I think this is a 2-gallon pot. And you're going to want to make sure it's got a lid that fits on it. Like this, like so. Just like that. Because it will steam quite a bit. If you can contain the steam, then your kale will cook a little faster. You're going to want some bacon. Now this is the kind of bacon that comes pre-cooked. It's kind of it's cold from having been in the refrigerator. It's already been cooked. It's a little oily, but that's okay. Bacon fat is going to be fine. It's okay. There's no such thing as perfect kale. Kale is very good for you, but it's okay if it has some fat in it. That's okay. You're going to want your salt and pepper. And you're going to want a nice chunk of brown sugar. This is all the brown sugar we have in the house. And thank goodness there's this much left because if there wasn't any, I'd be in trouble. That would mean no kale. So you can use as much or as little bacon as you want. I used pretty much just a little handful here. These strips are actually very scrawny and skinny, They're smaller than they look. That's kind of a fat piece, but yeah, they're actually smaller than they look. They just look really big because they're on like half of a piece of paper towel here. So, but what I'm going to do with these before I cook the kale is I'm going to cook the bacon first in the bottom of the pot. But I'll show you guys here shortly. So, once again, I got to apologize for the lighting. I'm in a kitchen where there's like windows on two sides, and there's no sunlight coming in at a good angle right now. So you can see all my zits and all my little wrinkles and all the weird stuff going on my face right now. So, hopefully you won't be too disgusted by my appearance. Hopefully you'll be thrilled by wonderful food. So, yeah. But I'll get to the sauteed vegetables actually in the next segment after I turn this off and come back later. So, yeah, I'll show you. So I'll show you guys some more stuff in just a little while. It occurred to me that you probably ought to be shown, for those of you who have never tried your knife skills before, about cutting up bacon. And this would be good practice for you if you want to improve your knife skills, but you just don't have anything else to practice with. This will be good practice because it's easy to cut up and it's not very time consuming. So what you want to have, make sure you've got a cutting board that's large enough to hold your bacon, and you want to use a chef's knife. This is a chef's knife. See how the top of the blade curves down a little bit towards the end. The bottom of the blade curves up a little bit towards the end. It's long, it's tapered, and the handle is just right the size of your hand. And this is the correct way to hold the knife, by the way. With your thumb barely over top of the tang, like that. This part of the knife is called the tang, the part that runs between the two halves of the handle. So, you want to make sure you've got a good stance so that your feet aren't going to get tired while you're doing this, because some people do get their feet get sore and tired while they're cutting actually. So you don't want to like stand on just on one leg, or lean against the counter, because that's just how you end up cutting yourself. Believe it or not, you will cut yourself doing that. So you want to gather your bacon, and don't hold your food like this. Hold it like that. You want to like make a claw-like sort of gesture on top of your food. Okay, and then you want to tilt your knife like this, right over top edge of the tip, like that, and then start cutting away. And you want to move the knife in a rocking motion. And move your hand back a little bit each time. If you need to move stuff out of the way, use the knife like I just did, just like that. If you hit a tough spot, it's okay. Just keep going. And I think I hit a fatty spot. That's why I'm having trouble all of a sudden. And that's it. So, if you ever want to improve your knife skills, that's a good way to practice. Just with like a carrot or with a cucumber or, bacon. So, there you go. So I'm getting ready to go stick this into the pot for the kale, and I'll get back with you in just a few minutes. Alright, I've got the bacon, the brown sugar, and the salt and pepper in the pot. Got it part the way staged. But one thing is missing, and that is some water just down in the bottom. You don't want a lot, you just want a little bit, because the kale can't cook without steam. So we're going to just kind of pour it in slowly and just kind of see how much we've got here. And I may need to get more. Actually, you know what? This might be perfect. I think that's the perfect amount. So yeah, it looks like exactly 1 cup of water in a pot this size. That works out perfectly. So So this doesn't look like a lot of water. Like I said, it is a very small amount. But what's going to hold all the water in the pot and keep it from leaving the pot so that the kale cooks is the lid. Put the lid on, it traps the steam and the kale cooks. So, there we go. There'll be more demonstrations on that in just a few minutes. Alright, I'm back. I've got my bag of kale right here. You see that? So, a little bit about kale. It takes a while to cook, especially these pieces like this that have bits of stem in them. The stem is extremely tough, and in order to cook properly, it does have to cook for a long time, maybe an hour. So I'll have plenty of time actually to do the steak and get my plate ready and saute the other vegetables while the kale is cooking. So I've turned on the pot. You can hear it starting to heat up underneath. And so now I'm going to dump in this entire bag of kale, the whole thing, and it will cook down, actually. It will reduce. It will not be this thick and fluffy and humongous once it gets to going cooking. So, you want to put in a little bit at a time. If you dump the whole thing in at once, it's just going to go everywhere. So, you just want to put in like a little bit at a time. Oh, and here's a good example of why it takes so long to cook. That's a nice big gnarly piece of stem right there. Just a little bit at a time. When it gets to be down to where there's just a little bit left in the bag, then you can kind of shape the rest of it out. Just like I'm doing now. Alright, put the bag aside. I'm just going to let that simmer for just a few minutes and then I'll give it a good stir. I'm going to check and see kind of what's going on down there. Not a whole lot. I see some steam, that's a good thing. I think I will go ahead and start stirring it just a little bit. The idea is to try and bring the kale that's on the bottom of the pot up towards the top. And you want to push the top down towards the bottom so that it cooks. See how it's changing color? It's getting a little bit darker. And see this white color right here? Once that's gone, then you can kind of just go ahead and put the lid on and walk away. And the lens is getting fogged up, and I think we're about done anyway, so I'm going to turn this off. I'll get back with you soon. Hey everyone, so the kale is simmering on low right now. It doesn't have to be babysat or anything, it'll be just fine by itself. So we're outside, and I'm at the grill. That's the neighbor's dog barking, by the way. He's blind, so he barks at pretty much everything because he can't see. He doesn't know. Poor thing. So anyway, he's also very old. So anyway, I'm going to talk to you guys about lighting a gas grill in case you've never done that before. In my last video we talked about lighting and preparing a charcoal grill. So now we're going to get to talk about lighting a I just felt a raindrop. That's not good. Anyway, a gas grill. But you know, the show must go on, so I'm going to go ahead and follow through with what I promised you guys, which is a video about cooking steak. So, it is overcast. I knew this was coming. Anyway, I'm going to show you what I've done so far. So I've got this implement here. I used that, and plus this this glove here to remove this center section out of the grates here. So that way when I throw the match in, it won't get stuck going this way long ways across the grate, because I'll explain why in just 1 second. But the first thing you do when you're going to light a gas grill is you want to turn on your gas on top of the gas bottle. And you want to turn it on all the way. And then you come up here and you turn on your left and right dials, your gas dials on your grill. And these are actually left on just a little bit already, which is okay. It's not a big deal. We're just going to leave these like they are. So, and then what you do is you strike your match and you throw it into the grill and it goes kapoof and it lights. So, but the thing is, if your match lands on the grates and it's laying like going long ways across the grates, then you got to take a pair of tongs or something and pick it up and drop it in there. But by the time you've done that, gas has accumulated in the air around the grill, and what happens is you get this big poof of flames, and you end up singeing your eyebrows off, or your arm hair, or your hair off of your head, or something like that happens. You end up injuring yourself or something. So you got to be careful about how you do this. So yeah, it takes some experience. You learn these things. You learn how to light a gas grill. It's not a big deal. You'll get it. Don't worry. The trick is just not be afraid. Just have confidence. Just be prepared. If you're really nervous, then have us like a little fire extinguisher, or have the water hose ready to go just in case something happens. So I'm going to go ahead and shut off the camera. I'm going to light the grill, and I'll get back with you guys in a few minutes. Okay, so I put my steak on the grill. I put it right in the middle. Now this grill is kind of odd. For some reason, it gets hotter on this side over here than it does over here. So putting it in the middle actually seems to work, because I noticed when I cooked vegetable kebabs last, I had big long kebabs, and the vegetables I had to flip them like over a few times to get them evenly cooked, because the ones on this end of the kebab weren't getting cooked. So yeah, but the stuff in the middle was turning out perfect. So anyway, so here's the baste, and I've got my favorite basting brush, the one that's got the nice angle down at the end by the brush. And I'm using my favorite pair of tongs. They have a nice long handle so that I don't have to have my hand so close to the heat when I go to turn the food on the grill. And in here I've got the vegetables sauteing. We've got a couple of mushrooms, some bell pepper, and some zucchini. So that's going to be part of dinner, even though it was part of last night's dinner also. But we don't waste food around here, so I'm reheating it, and it's going to be delicious. So, I'm letting the steak sit roughly 4 minutes between turns. And it's going to come out maybe medium rare, I think. So if you want medium rare, I would go for 3 to 4 minutes between turns. And yes, I'm doing alternating grill marks. So I just turned it, and I just put on some more of my baste. As you can see, it's dwindling quite a bit. So yeah, it's going to be one delicious steak. But when we cut into it, that'll be the truth. That will tell us whether or not I am doing this the way this is going to turn out, is the way I think it's going to turn out. So, wish me luck. And there it is. There's dinner. The steak is so big that I had to put my other helpings onto separate vessels. Now the steak does have quite a few big pieces of fat in it, so it's not all meat, so I'm not that big of a pig. There's my wine. And I'm ready to make a suggestion for those of you who did grill your steak. Afterwards, there's going to be bits and pieces of your baste all over the grill grate. Leave your grill on low while you're having your dinner. Then when you're done with your dinner, go outside and turn it off. Because what will happen is, while you're eating dinner, the grill will burn off the little pieces of your baste so that you can scrape it off next time you use your grill. Instead of just making like a sticky mess everywhere. So there you go, piece of advice. So yeah, everything's still hot, so I'm going to sit down and eat. And I may or may not get back with you in just a few minutes. I'm not totally sure. Either way. Well, it's not as rare as I wanted it to be, but it's good enough for me. I'm very happy. So I'm going to eat in just a couple seconds, but first I gotta tell you guys how happy I am that you watched my video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't done so already, like and share and subscribe to my channel and all that good stuff. So anyway, there's plenty more videos to watch by me, ones that I've done in the past, ones that are coming up in the future. So I guess that's it for now. I guess I'll catch you kids later. Bye.